It was awesome to speak to the SAGEA members in Joburg, Cape Town and Durban last week, and I just thought I'd send a follow-up note for those of you who are there, and potentially for those of you who weren't as well, but who've picked up the slides or have chatted to one of your colleagues who was there. So I think the real thing in the week following an event like that would be to say, so what are we going to do about it? And two things sit with me in the conversations that I had with people in the rooms pretty much across the country. First is that there seems to be two groups of people. One group of people who, as leaders, are having to navigate this change within their team and within their business. But the other is individuals in the room who are going through this themselves and who kind of went, okay, Ray, that's pretty much me. So, to the first group. If you have young men and women, or younger men and women, professionals within your team who are getting into their late 20s, and you're either starting to see the first rumbles of quarter-life crisis activity or thinking happening in their life, or potentially you're not even seeing that yet, but you just are aware now that it's stuff that's beginning to happen in their head. What I would do is I would recommend sitting down, either setting up a cup of coffee with one-on-one conversations, or maybe in smaller groups, you with 3 or 4 people, and just exposing them to the concept of the quarter-life crisis. Because as I mentioned last week, it's very possible that many of them are going through this feeling quite alone, not realizing that what they're experiencing is actually quite normal. And by you giving them a label and a framework, you immediately become their partner in navigating this shift and this change. So that would be the first thing I'd suggest to those of you who are leading teams and who potentially have this coming through. Second thing, so there are a number of younger professionals in the rooms around the country last week, and in pretty much each event, at least one of you came up to me afterwards and said, wow, okay, that's me. I'm in that space myself right now. So if that's you, what I would recommend is don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So accept that this is the space that you're in, accept that this is a life stage, that this is legitimate, that this is normal. But then from that point of acceptance, begin to plan. So don't be held hostage to the quarter-life crisis. Own your life and take control of it. And my advice would be that the first part of taking control of it would be to connect with a really trusted mentor or older advisor and sit down and say, hey, I had this talk last week. I went through, this is the stuff that Ray spoke about. This is what resonated with me. Can we speak together about the most appropriate way for me to navigate this? And then will you be my partner? Will you be somebody who will hold me accountable? And understanding the emotional upheaval of this stage, will you also help me to be a bit of a sanity check? And I think if you, as members of SAGEA, if you pick up those two conversations, you've started the wheels turning and you've begun to get some momentum in your businesses around responding to the quarter-life crisis. And of course, you can always get hold of Kathy and get info from Kathy from the SAGEA perspective, and you're welcome to get hold of me, and I'd be happy to give any advice or support or input that I can give. Have a great week.